Hi friends, welcome back to another tutorial. I have noticed a bunch of new subscribers lately, and so I wanted to do a tutorial that I have been meaning to do for a long time that will just help you set the foundation for your hand lettering. And that is, what are the four main types of hand lettering? So because I don't do long intros, we are just gonna get right into it. The first style that I'm going to show you is done using just a regular pen or pencil. I'm just using this gel pen so that you can see it easily, but you could definitely use a pencil or just a regular ballpoint pen. A lot of people choose to use these micron pens as well. Mine kind of exploded on me, so I'm just using this gel pen today. So the first style that I'm going to show you is faux calligraphy. And this is where you just use your handwriting and you write your letters, and then afterwards we're going to go in and fill in our downstrokes. So you don't have to write in a calligraphy style, you could just use like a regular block lettering, but this is just a really good way to practice. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go back and fill in some of these strokes, and the way that you know how, or the way that you know which ones to fill in is we're going to fill in our downstrokes. So when we're writing, you create an F by going up, and then down, then back up, and then down. So this part of the letter is up. We're not going to touch that one. But this part of the letter is down. So we are going to go back down the whole way down and fill in this. And this just mimics actual calligraphy or brush lettering and gives you the look of it without actually adjusting the pressure of how hard you are holding your brush. So then if we were going back down, we could add a little bit here. Typically when you do an F, you kind of loop it back though. And then we would have our A. So this part is going down, this part is going back up, this part is going back down, and this part is going back up. So I'm going to go back here and fill in my downstrokes, so the A right here, and show you what that looks like. So if you are new to hand lettering, this is a great place to start, and you can figure out which downstrokes to fill in just by writing out those letters and adding some arrows. If you have my practice sheets, I have the letters all filled in like this, where they're all broken down with arrows, and then you kind of know which ones to fill in. But if you don't have those, you can definitely do it yourself by just kind of drawing, and then it may take a couple extra steps to think about each letter, but after some practice, it will come naturally to you. So here we're going up, and then here we're going back down. So this is going to be the one that we're going to fill in. And then this little guy, we're going back up. So you don't fill in there. And then when you come back down, we'll fill in right here. So that is how you do faux calligraphy. And like I said, that's a really great place to start if you don't want to purchase new lettering supplies, or if you're just looking for a little bit different style than brush lettering. So the next style of lettering that I want to talk about is brush lettering. And this one I'm actually going to put into two different categories. There is brush lettering using brush pens, and then we also have watercolors using a paintbrush. So I'm going to show you both of those today. And for brush lettering, I'm going to show you using two different markers. This is a very popular calligraphy marker called the Tombow dual tip brush pen. And this is a true brush pen. The tip kind of looks like a paintbrush would look, but it doesn't have bristles. It's just all a marker. And as you adjust your pressure, you're going to get thicker strokes. So as we go up, we're going to get thinner strokes. And as we go down, we're going to get thicker strokes. So I'm just going to show you using this pen. And with all of these lettering styles, we are going to notice a theme that we're going to want to have thinner upstrokes and thicker downstrokes. So that is the goal when we are doing any type of calligraphy. And I'm also going to show you using a Crayola marker. This is not an actual brush pen, but it's great for beginners, and you can kind of do the same style and get the same practice. So I do always recommend this for beginners if you don't want to go out and purchase brush pens, or if you don't have them near you. So this is just the Crayola broad tip markers, and we can kind of get the same fake style with this as we do with our other brush pens. It's a little bit easier to use for beginners because the tip is firmer, so it's not going to feel like a real brush pen. So you shouldn't expect to get the same results from this as you do from a Tombow brush pen, but it's a great place to start and then move up to the more difficult brush pens after you kind of get the hang of the muscle memory. So this is what brush lettering looks like. This is true brush lettering, and this is kind of a faked out version with Crayola markers. These are both really fun types of hand lettering, but I do think it can be one of the more challenging types of lettering, especially if you're starting with using the Tombow brush pens. So don't be frustrated if it takes a while for you to get the hang of it. That is totally normal, and we've all been there, so do not worry. The next type of lettering I'm going to show you is using watercolors. This is probably one of my favorite ways to hand letter. There are a ton of different types of watercolors you can use. These are just typical watercolors. Otherwise, there are liquid watercolors or concentrated watercolors. I've used all different kinds and I like them all for different reasons, but today I'm just showing you the most basic, easy to find types of watercolors. So this is a Pentel Gouache water brush in a size medium, and these are my favorite water brushes to use that I have tried so far. And as you can see, we're kind of getting the same style as we got with the brush pen, but one thing I like about watercolors is I feel like they're a little bit more forgiving when it comes to like shaky strokes or getting things perfectly in a smooth line. I just feel like they are a little bit more forgiving, and you don't notice if you have a little bit of a shaky hand or if you slow down your lettering, which can kind of make it look a little bit shaky or a little bit less even. I just really like the look of watercolors, and I think it's really fun. As you can see, it can take a little bit of time to get the consistency right. With this brush, I'm just kind of squeezing it out into the pan here. But ideally you want it to be a little bit more liquid so that if you run out of ink here, you can kind of just drop a little bit more in and it'll spread evenly. If you don't have enough water, it's going to act more like paint, and then you're not going to get that effect, which is part of the fun of watercolor lettering. So with this type of lettering, we're also going to be doing the same more firm pressure when we go down and lighting up when we come back up on our upstrokes. So you get that same look of thick downstrokes and thin upstrokes. So like I said, I think that this is really fun and another great place to start if you're a beginner. I would definitely recommend the gouache water brush because it's a little bit easier to keep your consistency steady since you're just squeezing in there and not having to keep dipping your brush, because that's something that I find with a regular watercolor brush that sometimes I have a hard time making it through a whole letter without having to redip, whereas this one you can just do a little squeeze. You don't want to do a hard squeeze, it does sometimes drip out the side. So just do a little squeeze and that will help you make it all the way through your lettering. The next type of lettering that I'm going to show you is a more traditional style of calligraphy, and that is using a pointed pen. Now, I don't do the traditional calligraphy with the like slanty lines and loops and curls everywhere. That's a very traditional style that isn't really used a whole lot outside of the wedding world, and since I do calligraphy for art, I do more of an artistic style versus a style that's all in formation and on a straight line and something that looks super, super formal. So I'm going to be using this, but it is a little bit different than traditional calligraphy. And I can do another video about modern calligraphy versus traditional calligraphy if you are interested, but I just want to make you aware that there is a little bit of a difference between a modern style of calligraphy using a dip pen and the traditional style that you might see on a wedding invitation. So I'm going to be using this dip pen, and this was just from Hobby Lobby. I think it's the Speedball brand, but if I can find it online, I will leave the link in the description box below. I have tried a few and I really like this one. It's easy for me to hold, and I haven't branched out to the ones that have the tip on the side yet. I'm considering it, but I just really like this one so far, so I haven't tried anything else. I'm also going to be using this Bombay Black India ink, which is also from Hobby Lobby. And then I just have this little dish for my ink. So I'm just going to dip this in here, and just keep in mind that this ink does stain. I had a little spill in my desk drawer and it's quite purple, and it will not be going away anytime soon. So keep that in mind. So to get this effect, we're also going to press a little bit harder on our downstrokes than we are on our upstrokes. And different inks will give you a different consistency. So some pens you might have to dip more, and with different inks you might have to dip more. There are some inks also that you might have to mix with water. This is one of them, which is an amazingly fun ink to use, and I will do a video on that another time, but you have to mix this with water. So if you get something like this and you open it up and it looks like paint, you might need to mix that with water. So just make sure to read the instructions on your different types of ink that you're using. And you shouldn't have to push too hard when you're doing calligraphy with a dip pen. I know when I first started, I wasn't really sure, and I wasn't putting enough ink in it. And so I wasn't getting very much out, and I was pushing like super hard. And even with pushing really hard, I wasn't getting very much ink out. So I ended up having like little holes in my paper. And if that's happening to you, that is too hard. You don't need to push that hard. You probably just need a little bit more ink. So if this isn't a style that you think you would enjoy, I would really encourage you to just try it anyway, because I never thought that I would like doing traditional style calligraphy with a dip pen, because it's not my favorite look. So when I would see it, I would just think, well, I don't really love that style, so I'm not going to do that. But then I actually saw somebody do like drawings. They were doing little line drawings with a dip pen, and I saw how fun it looked, so I tried it. And it is really fun, and it's one of my favorite ways to do lettering if I'm just practicing. It just has a totally different feel for it, and I really enjoy it. So if you don't think you would like it, just give it a try and you might be surprised. I know there are so many things out there to buy, but I don't think that you need to start with anything super fancy. Like I said, mine was from Hobby Lobby, and you can always use a coupon there. And I think it's just a few dollars with a coupon, maybe under $5. So it's really not a very big price to pay when we're finding a style that we find really rewarding. So I just wanted to share that with you in case you are confused about all of the different things that you see on Instagram that people are calling hand lettering, but you are wondering why it all looks so different. It is all definitely hand lettering. There are just a few different styles that some people prefer one over the other. Some people only do brush lettering, some people only do watercolor. I just prefer to try it all. And so if you are like me, you might want to try a few different ones and see what you like the best. So if you have any more questions, please leave them in the comments box below, or feel free to follow me on Instagram at howtohandletter. I post a lot of videos and tips and discount codes over there for my lettering worksheets. And if you are new to hand lettering, I will leave a link in the description box below for my lettering worksheets. I have a style that works with a dip pen. I also have a style that works with these larger brush pens. And I have a style that is the faux calligraphy that I showed you using this gel pen. So if you are interested in those, I have a page for each letter that breaks down the lettering strokes, how to form your letters, and it's a whole page of practice letters that you can trace over so that you can create your own hand lettering. So I will leave those in the description box below so you can check them out. And they are printable, so you can print them out as many times as you need to be able to perfect your hand lettering. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more videos, and I hope you have a great day. Bye!